Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tribune Sports Live. Scott Buttram sitting in for Alan Taylor tonight, the publisher of the Trussell Tribune. Scott, welcome.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, so 3 big wins this weekend for the Huskies, the Cougars, and the Pinson Valley Indians, 3-0 in region play.
Right. We call it the Tribune trifecta when all 3 teams win. So it's a good night for the Tribune and good night for Tribune territory.
Well, it's a big weekend for sports this last weekend. You had the college football season getting started, and now it's beginning to feel like football season.
That's right. That's right.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about all these games, and we'll start with the Hewitt Huskies, a big region win over Tuscaloosa County. We'll be back.
At Bryant Bank, we focus on you. You'll never have to worry about being just another number in the system. When you're a member of the Bryant Bank family, our Bryant Bankers will work to understand who you are, where you want to go, and how we can help you to get there. We're big believers in developing relationships with our customers, and we value friendships we make along the way. Bryant Bank provides unbeatable service and legendary results. Bryant Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Our defense played really well. We're really proud of our kids. Made some big stops there in the first half, and we talked at halftime about let's try to finish this thing off. Last week we came back and didn't play very well in the third quarter, and so guys came back out. Made a few adjustments, but really at the end of the day, our guys just made plays. Still had some missed tackles at times, but give them credit that they had a good back and a good quarterback.
Jason, just start me off, man. You blew up about 4 plays in a row there. Just what got into you?
I don't know. I was just pretty excited. I was kind of mad that my toe got hurt, but Coach pumped me up before the drive, so I just went out and did my thing. So,
Jalen, tell me how important it was for your defense, your first-team defense, to only hold them to a touchdown. You really played well tonight.
It was really important. We're trying to prove a statement that we're coming this year as a defense and that we're actually a solid defense.
The Hewitt Huskies open region play with a big victory over the Tuscaloosa County Wildcats, 38-13. Scott, the Huskies have it clicking.
They really do. I think that's a game Josh Floyd really needed. The offense got it going. The defense stood up all night long. It was kind of what Coach Floyd's been looking for since he got here, and he got it Friday night.
And it was really the first complete game we've seen them play. And it started off 2 big runs early, 51-yard touchdown run by Zach Thomas, 87-yard touchdown run by Jerry Street. And this game was really, for all intents and purposes, over by halftime.
It was, and we finally started to see this defense take on the personality of the defensive coordinator, Rudy Griffin. They played a little like he played when he was at Alabama, over their heads, but they stayed within their role, stayed in position, shut down Tuscaloosa County High all night long. And Hewitt's been waiting a year for this game. They felt like they should have won that one in Tuscaloosa last year.
They really should have. They were, shot themselves in the foot. We talked about that a little bit last week. This past week, they only gave up 252 yards of total offense, and the front 7 for those Huskies looked salty.
They looked great. They were dominating across the front. Also, I was very impressed with the secondary. They stood up this week, held off the long ball, and they essentially made County High one-dimensional.
Well, the Huskies are going to need another strong defensive performance next week as they travel to Vestavia Hills, another region opponent. Vestavia won their ball game last week, and this is a team the Huskies have never beaten.
That's right. Well, Buddy Anderson's going to have something special waiting on Hewitt when they arrive. He has not become one of the winningest coaches in Alabama history by accident. Last year, that was another game that I felt like was a pretty ugly game from both teams all night long. I thought it was really anybody's game till the fourth quarter when Vestavia took control. I've got a feeling Hewitt's going to come out on top this week.
Well, you mentioned Buddy Anderson and ugly. Those are, that's kind of his MO.
Yes, it is.
He will make games ugly. He will grind it out. Right. They'll run the power, and then throw over with the play action pass. The Huskies are really going to have to keep their assignments to win this ball game next week.
The defense needs a repeat of last Friday night, no question about it. If Coach Griffin has them going in the right direction, as it appears he might, it could be bad news for Vestavia. It's going to be tough on the road. That's going to be a hostile crowd over there.
Well, we look forward to seeing that one. Next, we're going to talk about the Clay Chalkville win against Hillcrest. They had a nail-biter. We'll be back.
Trussell Vision Care is now proud to offer sports vision training for athletes. This sports-specific training improves hand-eye coordination and reaction time. As a former college athlete, Dr. Steele knows how important perfect vision is to succeed on the athletic field. For athletes, 20/20 vision is not enough. Trustful Vision Care.
I was afraid of this all week. I said, this is a good enough team to beat us. I'm so proud of our kids to find a way. Offensively, they played lights out. Coach Floyd and his staff and the kids. I'll tell you, Brandon Berry did a great job. And how about Darian Wilson coming in the game, managing the last quarter and a half because of the selfish stupidity of our quarterback and, winning the game for us. When we don't have him on the roster, we don't win this game.
Welcome back. Clay Chalkville had one of their closest ball games they've had in the last couple of years, Scott, going on the road to Hillcrest of Tuscaloosa and escaping with a 41-40 victory.
It was a tough ball game. Clay Chalkville is on an 18-game winning streak. I think they've reached the point where mental is about as important as physical right now, and we've sensed Coach Jerry Hood trying to work on that mental aspect since this season started, reminding these guys they are not last year's team. It kind of came home to roost Friday night.
Well, the defense had a tough night, especially against the run. One running back, 447 yards on 29 carries, 4 touchdowns. He also caught another touchdown pass. It was a 6A record for rushing. Broke the record of Rock Thomas, who was running the ball at Auburn Saturday.
That's right.
So one of those things where they got to get some stuff worked out stopping the run.
Well, and if you have to pick any school in the state that's not going to give up that kind of rushing performance, it's going to be a Jerry Hood team. So it was very out of character for Clay Chalkville for that to happen. But you know what, Zach? Jerry Hood left Tuscaloosa with 2 very important things: a plate full of teachable and coachable moments and a victory.
Speaking of those coachable moments, they had some adversity in this game. Ty Pigram was ejected. The star quarterback for Clay Chalkville gets ejected when a Hillcrest player is trying to twist his leg over on the sideline. He didn't react very well to that, and he got tossed from the game. Starting running back Nick Battle left the game with a concussion. So they had they really had some adversity to get through.
Right, and they had another player, and we don't know who it was, that may have had some dehydration issues. So it was a tough night physically for Clay Chalkville. We had a reporter on site who said they were definitely twisting Pigram's leg when he went down. That's not okay with Coach Hood. He felt that Pigram lost his composure, and these things are going to happen in a ball game, and they're going to happen at every level. That kid's going to continue to play at another level after his Clay Chalkville days are over. So Coach Hood is right. He's got to control that emotion no matter what takes place.
Well, the good news for Clay is Darian Wilson came in, A.J. Walker came in, and they did a nice job filling in for those guys. Yeah. And Clay's offense, a lot of times it doesn't matter if your defense is having a bad night with this offense. Right. They can just outscore you.
Yep. Well, it was needed last Friday night for sure. But I think we're going to see a different Clay Chalkville going forward because this is a wake-up call. Zach, you don't get a wake-up call like this without taking a loss quite often. So they were lucky to get away with a win in that game. I think this coaching staff is going to really use that game to improve this team, to get their attention. They may look back on Friday night in Tuscaloosa against Hillcrest as the launching pad for another great run.
And Hillcrest, just how close this game was, Hillcrest had a chance to tie the game, and they elect to go for 2 instead of kicking the extra point and get into overtime.
Right.
Getting into overtime with a backup against a team with a backup quarterback and a backup running back. Any thoughts on that decision?
Well, that's a head scratcher. They're at home. If you're going to go into overtime, you want to do it at home. But the coach there is very aggressive and determined that he was going to try to win it right then and right there. Now, in Hillcrest's defense, they had the momentum. They had just taken it in and scored. They had a pretty good run going. Emotionally, things were going their way. I understand his point. I'm not sure I'd have done it that way, but you know what? It's easy for us to sit back and armchair quarterback the following week.
That's right. I'm an optometrist. I can say whatever I want.
That's right. That's
Clay
right.
travels to take on Huffman next Friday night, a region game. Huffman lost 34-6 to Gardendale this week, so Clay maybe can get back into the right routine against Huffman.
I think it's a good opponent for Clay right now.
When we return, we'll have your weather forecast for Friday night, and we're going to talk about Pinson Valley as they took care of business against Woodlawn. We'll be back.
Gunner Oil would like to invite you to visit one of their 3 stores on Deerfoot Parkway. Both Shell locations on Deerfoot offer delicious Hunt Brothers pizza, one at Highway 11 and the other at Old Springville Road, which was a BP and now has a fabulous new look customers need to see to believe. The Chevron at Happy Hollow Road features mouth-watering pop donuts that are delivered fresh each and every morning. A proud supporter of the community for more than 20 years, offering quality products at a fair price in a clean environment with friendly and efficient service, Gunner Oil.
Tribune Sports Live is sponsored in part by State Senator Slade Blackwell of District 15. Senator Blackwell represents parts of Talladega, Shelby, and Jefferson counties, including the Trussville area. A former high school and college athlete, Senator Blackwell is pleased to promote our local schools and student athletes. As football season gets underway, it's time to say, Go Huskies, Go Cougars, and Go Indians. Here's to a successful and safe year for all who are involved with high school athletics in our area.
Welcome back. It's time for Tribune Sports Live Game Day Forecast. In and around central Alabama, we should be expecting low 80s today, with a low of 65 and at least a 40% chance of rain. So you might want to take a poncho to the game. Here's wishing all the best of luck to the Huskies, the Cougars, and the Indians. This has been your Game Day weather forecast for Tribune Sports Live.
I told the kids first time we've been 3-0. I don't think since I've been here. We've always we've stumbled once or twice in the past. So I'm proud to be 3-0. But like I told the kids, our season starts now. We got a great Gardendale team coming in. We got a gauntlet next 4 games, so we got to get a lot better.
At halftime, we went in, we made some adjustments, and before halftime, we got pretty fired up, and we just came out the O-line block, and we just got points.
Pinson Valley went on the road to Lawson Field this past Friday night, and they took care of business against Woodlawn. Scott, a dominating performance by the Pinson defense.
On both sides of the ball, actually. The defense played shutout ball, but the offense had everything clicking and moved it with that young quarterback. That's a confidence builder's act.
The Pinson defense, just want to make a point of this, only 34 plays run by Woodlawn. They only get 16 total yards, 2 first downs. That's dominating.
Well, that's Alabama-style defense. We saw a little bit of that Friday night in the rushing game, that rushing defense that Alabama put up. But this is Pinson Valley, and they were playing a team with some very good athletes in Woodlawn. So to shut them down completely, we're starting to see glimpses of what Matt Glover hoped to have in this team.
Hendricks, again, had a great night running the football. 3 touchdowns, 129 yards rushing. They're beginning to forget Nick Gibson.
Nick who? Hendricks has stepped right in, and he is filling the shoes of a blue-chip athlete. I don't think they've missed Gibson at all because of the job Hendricks has done, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. He's just getting warmed up.
Well, Pinson's going to need a great defensive performance again this week as Gardendale comes to town. Gardendale, a team we know can score points, and it's going to be a challenge for them.
Right, and this is the stretch. Pinson just moved up to 6A football last year. So this is the stretch of some 6A teams that will challenge them. One of those teams will be Clay Chalville, but Pinson has played Clay Chalville toe-to-toe for the last 2 years. They haven't won either of the games because Clay is the superior team and has had superior athletes, but Pinson has stood up and played with them. We're going to see a nice little run here out of Pinson and see if they can keep their act together.
Well, they will be at home against Gardendale Friday night. When we return, we'll have your players of the week, and we're going to see how well Scott does filling in for Allen with his picks. We'll be back.
Whether you're looking to buy your first home or you're trying to sell the one you're in now and need advice from a realtor, turn to Lee Marlowe, Realty South Realtor. Contact Lee today at 205-913-9559 or visit Lee at leemarlowehomes.com. And now it's time for Tribune Sports Live Players of the Week, brought to you by Gunter Oil. This week we switch sides of the ball and go for Jason Williams, number 8. Against the Tuscaloosa County Wildcats, this senior defensive end recorded 8 tackles, 2 of them for a loss, and had 1.5 sacks. Our next player of the week from Clay Chalville is doing a repeat appearance. Nico Collins. He had 8 runs for 150 yards and a touchdown. And he added a touchdown rush. This makes back-to-back Player of the Week awards for the junior. But if you thought Nico did well with a repeat back-to-back award, then look at this. For a 3rd consecutive time, Pinson Valley running back Torrey Hendricks gets the honor.
He finishes his game against Woodlawn with 18 carries for 129 yards and 3 scores. And why wouldn't we expect a three-peat from a young man who says that his favorite thing to do is, quote, put points on the board? This has been Tribune Sports Live Players of the Week, brought to you by Gunter Oil.
Paul Davis Emergency Services of Northeast Birmingham helps by providing needed cleanup and restoration services. Through the appropriate tools and processes, we avoid wasting valuable time to get your property to its previous state as quickly as we possibly can. Through our experience with restoration services in Birmingham, we can determine the necessary services depending on your property and type of damage, which may include smoke and fire damage restoration, water damage restoration, wind damage restoration, and mold removal. Paul Davis, Recover, Reconstruct, Restore. 205-687-0556.
All right, it's pick time, and the picks get a little bit tougher this week. Maybe that's why Alan's not here.
That may be.
So we'll start with Hewitt-Trussville. On the road against Vestavia Hills. Have never beaten Vestavia Hills in the history of the program. How do they fare this week?
Well, conventional wisdom says that Hewitt-Trussville is going to go on the road to some hostile territory and they're going to lose the ball game. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this program is starting to turn the corner. I think offense is starting to click, defense is starting to step up. This is a game that was ugly enough for either team to win or lose last year. This year, I think Trussville will get the win. I think it'll be a close one. I expect them to win 27-24.
27-24. My thoughts, Hewitt's got more talent than Vestavia. I think on paper, they really should win this ball game. As long as you don't make mistakes,
right,
as long as you can limit the penalties, all those things that happened in the game last year. And last year the game was a pretty evenly matched ball game.
Right.
If Hewitt doesn't make mistakes, shoot themselves in the foot, they win that ball game. I think this team, I agree with you, they've turned the corner. I like Hewitt in this one. I'm going to say 28-17 Huskies. All right, Clay Chalkville. Maybe a break this week as they go on the road to take on Huffman, although they don't go far down the road.
Right. They don't go far. Huffman is going to have some good athletes. They always do. They're going to have a couple of burners that can get behind that Clay secondary unless that secondary listens to their coaching this week and learns to hit on their keys. Here's the problem Huffman's got. They are meeting Clay Chalkville at absolutely the worst possible time on their schedule. This could get ugly, and it could get ugly fast. Jerry will try to hold the horses down. 54-6, Clay Chalkville.
I'm with you. I think I like Clay big in this one, 56-14. All right, Gardendale at Pinson. This may be a game of the week. A huge region matchup for both teams. A lot of playoff implications. It seems too early to be talking about playoff implications, but they are going to be involved here. Gardendale, a high-powered offense. Pinson, a very, very good defense. What do you think?
Well, I think Pinson, being only in their second year of 6A football, still looks at 6A teams like Gardendale and feels like they need to prove something. I think Gardendale looks at Pinson and sees a recent 5A team. I think Pinson catches Gardendale off guard. I think Pinson's playing very well, and I think Pinson wins this game 24-17.
I'm with you again. I think Jackie Williams and Hendricks make just enough plays to get by. I think it's going to be a little bit more high scoring than that. I like Pinson 41-34. Well, that's our show. We'll see how we did with these picks when we come back next week. Good luck to all the teams.